back to how to create your own teaching website. This video will deal with the Google Docs functionality out of the Google Apps, and the way I'm going to go about teaching this is I'm going to create a sample lesson using Google Docs as the vehicle for the lesson. And I'll just post it on here and we'll create the site as we go, and that way you can see an example of how Google Docs could be used in your own classroom if you so choose. So what I have is I'm going to pretend that I'm making this for my chemistry class. And let's say we're in the energy chapter, or excuse me, let's say we're in the, actually this would be appropriate in either the energy and heat chapter or in the bonding chapter. And I want them to take some notes on what we're learning, which happens to be about chemical bonds and heat. So what I'm going to do is go to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to chemistry, and this one happens to be filed under energy. And so I have here a set of notes about how heat denatures cell walls and destroys bacteria and viruses. And there's a lot of information here that I want the students to read through and understand. Okay, and it's all in this Google Doc breakdown of pathogenic bacteria. I want that to go in here. So I'm going to make this Google Docs a sample. So let me put a warning at the top. Here is a sample lesson created using Google Docs as the vehicle for knowledge. Okay. So in my lesson, I want a learning target. So let's go ahead and write that in. Here's my learning target. I want students to understand how heat alters chemical bonds within a living cell. Okay? I'm also going to put in what I want the students to produce at the end to show whether or not they learned this learning target. So I'll call that the artifact. The artifact is what the students are going to create. Students will create a collaborative Google Doc that summarizes knowledge from the reading. Okay, so the students will actually be using Google Docs in this format. They'll be reading my Google Docs about and taking notes on it, and then what I'm going to have them create is their own Google Doc paper, or at least they're going to fill in mine. Okay, so we need instructions. Instructions for the students. Oops. And let's number them. Okay. Read the article below. Within your teams, I'm going to make a few teams for this because I want the students to do this collaboratively and help each other out. So they're going to read the article. And then I want them to summarize. Create a one paragraph, which I want them to know is at least 5 sentences, summary of the article, and enter it into the collaborative Google document. And I am going to put a link to that in here as soon as I create it. Okay. And the third instruction, I want to be able to tell my students apart. And so I'm going to have them color code their work. Color code your paragraph according to the legend below. Okay. And I'm just going to go team 1, 2, 3. You can do this for however many teams you actually have if you choose to do it in teams. If you want the students to do it on individually, you could also have each student pick their own individual color. My classroom has anywhere from 5 to 7 teams depending on the size of the class. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them colors. So team 1 is going to be red. Team 2 will be orange. Team 3 will be green. Team 4 be blue. Team 5 be purple. 6 give them magenta. And 7 can be black. So when they enter their stuff in, I'm going to have them type in that color, and that way I know which student wrote, or which team rather of students wrote which paragraph. Okay, now I want to include the document here, so I'm going to go ahead and insert it. So this is breakdown of pathogenic bacteria. This is what I want them to read, and I'm going to put it on this page. So insert from my drive, and this is a document from my drive, so I'm looking for a Google Doc. And it doesn't show up just as here, so I'm going to go ahead, breakdown. Let's see if that shows up. Breakdown of pathogenic bacteria. All right. Select. I'm going to leave the width empty. Save that. So here's the notes. Good. So let me title this for them. And then below that, I want to enter where they're going to put their document. So this will be collaborative document. Now I haven't made that document yet, so I need to go make that. So in Google Docs, I probably want that document to also be in the chemistry energy folder. Now, I'll do it, if I go new, if I'm in the energy folder now and click new, it will create a new Google Doc within that folder. If I do it here, if I go back to my drive and I click new, then the Google Doc that I create will just be floating around in my drive. I don't want that. I want it to show up within the energy folder because that's also where the breakdown of pathogenic bacteria was, and I want it all to be together. So I'm going to say new, and this is a Google Doc. And I'm creating it in this folder. And we're just going to title this Collaborative Notes Breakdown of Pathogenic Bacteria. And I could also put that down here. Okay. And if I want, I could go ahead and put a structure. Team 1 goes here, and I could color it the same. Actually, I could just copy that. And now they know where to put their stuff. Give them some space. Okay, so this document now exists. There's a couple ways you can deal with this. If you want it to be open so that anybody can type in here, you can share it. And right now, anyone with a link can view. I'm going to change that to anyone with a link can edit. Done. Now, if they click on this link, not only will it bring up the document here so they can see it, but they will be able to type in the document itself. And so the responses will show up here. And that's really what we want. We want the students to come in, access this first document, read it, take some notes on it, discuss it with themselves, and then come up with some kind of summary of this article, and then they're going to put their summary right in here. Okay? And that way their teammates will all be able to see it. And you could even do it at the end where they have to go and read the whole thing, because their summary, Team 7's, will probably not be quite the same as Team 5's. There's a metacognitive aspect to this as well, because if one team reads what another team wrote and goes, oh, I see that, it'll automatically cause them to think about what they wrote and see how good it was and whether they missed something or not. And there's a lot of learning that comes from that. Now, you also will be able to see very easily if anyone's cheating, because all you have to do is look and see if and compare the paragraphs between the other paragraphs. So very useful stuff. I'm going to take, so I made this document, break the collaborative notes. I am going to go down here and put this document in. I'm going to insert it right here from my drive. I just created it, so it should show up right at the top. It sure does. Save. Okay. And so now we have a pretty decent lesson. It may not take a whole period. It might, depending on how you introduce it and everything. But it's fairly complete. Sample lesson. We have a learning target, what the students should know by the end. We have something that they're going to produce by the end. We have some very limited instructions. You can flesh this out however you like. Okay, and then we have one Google Doc that is the thing they have to read, and they can read it right here, right there. And then they can come right down here, and here's the collaborative document they're going to be making. And they just click it, and they'll go ahead and be able to enter their stuff in. What's very interesting as well is as they enter their paragraphs, it will show up on this page. And so this, if I start typing, for instance, Team 1 writes, I read that ... whatever they read. And now I come to this page, and let's refresh the page. See how it shows right up? So as they are entering their text in, they'll see all the other stuff that's there, and this document gets created in real time, which can be very powerful. And then all you have to do to grade it at the end of the lesson is go right through and read it. And it's all online. We didn't use any paper for this. We didn't have to pass anything out. It would require access to computers, although the Google Docs format is accessible on a cell phone or on a tablet if you have those at your school. Some schools pass out tablets. So there's a lot of flexibility here. You could assign this as a homework assignment as well, and have them do this at home and then upload it to here, or type it into this collaborative piece here. So that's the Google Docs functionality, and you're probably just got 2 or 3 or 4 ideas running around in your head of how to use this to help out in your classroom.